when I got to USC and I went to an AA meeting on campus every single day, I became part of that network, that Trojan family. And that family saved me. And that was like, we got you. You're going to be fine, kid. Don't worry about it. Just keep showing up and doing what you're told. And that has stuck with me throughout the process. And they also taught me that anything's possible. When an alcoholic or an addict gets sober and cleans up their life, quitting drinking and alcohol turns out to be the easy part.
I bet.
And quitting your way of life, the chaotic, insane way of life, that's the hard part.
Yeah.
Okay. When God has work for you to do, all you have to do is show up, and he will kick the doors open for you, but you've got to show up.
Welcome to the Secrets to Abundant Living podcast. Your guide on this journey is Amy Sylvis, ready to unlock the keys to a life of true abundance. We're diving into everything from financial freedom and optimal health to meaningful relationships, geographic freedom, and everything in between. It's about creating a life rich in experiences, purpose, and joy. Get ready for empowering conversations, expert insights, and real-life stories that inspire you to live abundantly. If you're ready for the secrets to an abundant life, hit that subscribe button now, and let's get started.
Secrets to Abundant Living podcast community, welcome to an incredible episode of the podcast. I am so honored and grateful to be here because the podcast is growing. I just want to introduce myself real quick for those who might not know who I am. I'm Amy Sylvis. I'm the founder and CEO of Sylvis Capital. We connect investors to alternative investments like hands-off real estate so you can live your life in the most abundant way possible. But this episode isn't about that. It is about my amazing friend, Kevin Petersen, who you all are not going to believe this story. I feel like I say this a lot, but I'm so blessed and grateful to have just phenomenal people in my circle, my community, but more specifically, my Trojan community. Kevin, welcome to the episode. I'm so grateful to have you here.
Hey, Amy, fight on. It's good. Thanks for having me. You get me all choked up.
Fight on. You've got quite an incredible story. And there's nothing like going through things in life and then sharing it so other people can benefit and be encouraged, right? And I feel like that is really what you're all about and what we try to be about here on the podcast. So tell us a bit more about you, if you would.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Awesome.
Thanks for having me. So I'm going to go forward, then backward. Okay. So I am a licensed marriage and family therapist. I specialize in working with families that struggle with addiction because that's my background. So I currently live in Jacksonville Beach, Florida. And I don't live too far away from Tony Vaselli.
Oh.
He doesn't know me.
That was going to be my next question. How close are you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I've been in the same room as him, but I mean, it's a fairly small community. So where I live is the northeast corner of Florida.
Okay.
And so I'm 61 years old. And so I started at USC in the fall of 1982. And where I live is it's kind of like Manhattan, Hermosa, Redondo. Okay.
Got it.
Atlantic, Neptune, and Jacksonville Beach. And then beneath me is Ponte Vedra. But they're all just like, you just walk from one to the other. So anyway, I grew up in Palo Alto. I was born at Stanford Hospital. I'm the fourth generation to be born in the Bay Area. Don't tell anyone. My grandfather went to Cal, but we don't talk about him. Yeah. He was wonderful. And I grew up in Palo Alto, California. And in the fall of 1982, I enrolled at the University of Southern California.
Wow.
And I was going to make my fortune and become a world famous news reporter or sports reporter. I actually got into journalism school and I never took a class. So I grew up in a home in Palo Alto, which was a beautiful home. My dad was very successful, did very wonderful. I mean, he moved there on purpose because the schools are great and he wanted his kids to have a good education. He grew up in San Jose and he was very successful. We had a lot of nice things, I mean, really nice things and a nice home, but we had a big family secret. And the big family secret was that my mom struggled with prescription drug addiction and a lot of mental health issues. Now, when you're a kid, you don't know that. You're just like, oh, this is the family. And my dad, we all just did our best to sort of cover it and account for it. sort of cover for it, make up for it, sort of over obligate yourself and fix things. Around 13, 14, I had my first drink and smoked a little weed. And then I was like, oh, where's this been?
Good.
This is great. And I myself into that world. I was a good student in high school. I was a good athlete. I was very social. It was really funny. The high school I went to is public, right? Palo Alto High School is public. It's a very good It's one of the top 10 academic schools in the country. It's not a select school. It's not a magnet school.
Okay.
But I mean, it's a skewed population, you know?
Yeah.
So when I went down to USC in the spring of 82 to, turn in my application, they were like, oh, okay, you have a 3.1 and 1250 on your SATs. Where'd you go to high school? I'm like, Palo Alto High School. And they opened up a book and they're like, you're fine. You're in. Don't worry about it. You are so fine. And I was like, oh, okay. And I'll tell you 2 stories about my time at USC. Okay. And I want to be clear. I bleed cardinal and gold. Okay. My first week that I was there, and you're probably too young to know this, but that's okay.
Count it.
They had, I'm guarantee it. One of the founders of Apple Computers decided to put on a 3-day party. His name was Steve Wozniak, and it was out in Glen Ellen or Fontana or something. And it was called the US Festival.
Huh.
And it was Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You can look it up and Google it and see who was there. It was the Woodstock of my time. I literally was like, oh my God, everybody was there, And so my buddies were and we were all in the freshman dorm, Trojan Hall, boys dorm. And my buddies were like, hey, you want to go to this 3-day concert? And I was like, yeah, but this weekend is freshman orientation. Aren't we supposed to do that? And they were like, nah. So that's how I started school. And I went to that 3-day concert. And oh my God, it was the greatest thing ever. I had the time of my life. And I was drunk and high the whole time, but it was wonderful. So 6 years later, my parents want to know when I'm going to graduate. And I'm like, that's a really good question. I have absolutely no idea. So that was the fall of 82. And then like around December, the end of, so 5.5 years later of 87, I turned in the paperwork because back then it was paperwork. And I got back a letter. And I normally, you strike me as the kind of person that was like a really good student and doing all the right stuff. I wasn't. And so, you probably got a letter saying, congratulations, you're graduating in May. Go get them, Tiger. Yeah. Or you get one that says, oh, you got to do this and this. I got a handwritten letter that said, you got to be kidding. You're not even enrolled at this school. You owe the school $10,000. You are on probation of every level. I mean, academic, personal, related. And I read that letter and I was like, oh, I'm graduating in May. Oh. And I ordered a cap and gown and I bought the announcements and sent them out to all over the country and got a bunch of presents and money. And on May 9th, 1988, I faked my graduation from college at USC.
No way. Kevin, that's wild. Wow.
That's my big gangster move. That's how school ended. That's how school ended. Wow. So I could spend all day talking about that, but let's just, so I went back to Palo Alto. I started bartending and, selling weed because in 1988, that's what you did. Yeah. And I did that for a couple of years at some really nice restaurants and really, had a lot of fun. And in August of 1990, I went to a family reunion in San Luis Obispo. That's where my grandfather's from. Yeah. A little town called Templeton. You probably never heard of it, but it's beautiful. On the way home, on the 4-hour drive home, my dad said, let's drive together. And I was like, okay. And the drive went like this. Kevin, you're my only son and I love you, but I don't believe a word out of your mouth. I think you're an alcoholic and a drug addict. You're a liar, cheat, and a thief. And until those things end, we've taken a vote, your sister, your mother, and I, and you're out. And until those things change, you are not welcome at the house. I wasn't living there, but you're not welcome to borrow cars. You're not welcome to use the washer or dryer. You just do not come to the house. If you come to the house, we'll call the police. And I was like, oh, not this again. I mean, every alcoholic and drug addict they've heard this before. Yeah. And they're like, oh God, are we going to play this game again? Right. How long does it take before you cave? The difference is this time they held their ground. And so about 6 weeks later of no contact with people that I would see every day. Yeah. Yeah. I called my mom and I was like, okay, all right, you win. What do we got to do? And they were like, you got to go see his therapist with your dad. And that was all set up. which was fine. And so I started seeing that therapist in January of 1991, wonderful man. And at the end of April, my parents went out of town for my mom's birthday. And the therapist said, "Why don't you come in by yourself?" And I was like, "Okay." And I came in and he said, "You know what, Kevin, I got to tell you, you're an alcoholic and a drug addict." And I was like, "You know what, Julian, you're right. No questions." And I hadn't quit drinking at this point. I
Wow.
was like, "You're right." I mean, my world was falling apart right and left. By the way, I confessed to my parents that I faked college.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I put everything on the table.
Yeah.
He's like, I said, "What do I do?" And he's like, "You got to go to AA." And I was like, "Okay." And at this point, I had come up with a plan because one of my fraternity brothers, his name's Peter Rooney, and I love him. He's one of my dearest, closest friends, had said, "Hey, because he knew. And he's like, if you work at the university, school's free."
Mm.
And I was like, "Oh, really?" So I got sober on May 5th, 1991.
Wow.
I moved back to LA on June 2nd, 1st or 2nd and I lived in my fraternity for the summer. That was great.
It's amazing.
It's cheap and gross,
Yeah.
but I had a family friend who was the secretary to the president of the university. And her name was Liz King. And I had partied with her son. My dad had partied with her husband who passed away.
Oh,
And I called her and said, "Hey, Liz, I'm coming back. I need help." She's like, "Monday morning, 8 o'clock, be in my office, dress professionally." And I was like, "You got it." I walked in there, I sat down with her and I said, "Liz, I don't know if you realize this. I didn't graduate from USC." And she's like, "Kevin, I'm the secretary to the president of the university. I'm well aware of your situation." And here it comes. Ready? This is the part that undying loyalty. I have called every single department that I needed to and called in a favor. And every single one of them is waiting for you to come to them this morning. And we're going to figure out a process for you to get back on track and get your shit together. And I was like, "Okay." And she's like, "First things first, you need to go straight over to the athletic department. There's a friend of mine named Ron who's waiting to talk to you." And I was like, "Okay." And I walked over to the Heritage Hall and I walked into this guy's office and he stood up and said, "Hi, I'm Ron. I'm an alcoholic. Can I take you to a meeting tonight?"
wow.
And so USC saved my parents saved my life, but USC saved my life. So fast forwarding. So I had to meet with the academic people and they're like, "You have a 1.1 GPA."
Yeah. A tough one.
Yeah. And then the financial people were like, "You owe us 10 G's." And so I got a job at the financial services office working. They used to have a thing called the payment plan, the USC payment.
Yeah.
And I ran it. And so I got a job. And in January of 1992, I enrolled in my first class. I got it all taken care of. I started paying the bill and I re-enrolled in school. Funny story, because I had a 1.1 GPA, I could get nothing less than A's because, 1.1 and 4 make
Right. Yeah. Barely passing. Yeah.
5, which is
Yeah.
what I needed to graduate.
Yeah.
So I couldn't retake my classes. They were like, "You can't go back and be an econ major." I'm like, "Oh, thank God." It almost killed me. And so I just went and took all the social sciences, and then I took a bunch of cinema classes. I mean, it was great. That's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
But in the interest of not spending the rest of your day talking about me,
No. Fascinating.
my first class I had to take a science class, and I hate science.
Mhm.
And I took astronomy.
Oh,
Yeah, I thought, "Oh, this will be great." It was goddamn physics. It was, astrophysics, and the guy that taught it was a visiting professor from Harvard, and I'm like, and there was
that's
no
not what I
way,
signed up for.
but there was no way I was gonna get an A, and I'm like, "I'm gonna flunk, and everything's gonna go to hell. I
Yeah.
can't believe this."
Yeah.
Swear to God, I'm not making this up. The week of my final was the LA riots,
Oh my gosh.
and the university was occupied by the National Guard, and they
Right.
sent everybody home.
Right.
And they said, "If you have exams, you have 3 choices. Take the exam as planned." And most parents were like, "You are not going back there." 2, talk to your professor. We have basically told the professors if they're A students, they get an A. If they're B students, they get a B. And I was not either. So at that point, and they said, or option 3, you can postpone that class for a year. So I did that. I did option C.
Yeah.
And I took a series of classes and got A's and took that stupid exam and got a C. But by that time, I had proven myself that I was
Yeah.
okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So da 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 da. That's 92, 93. In August of 1994, I graduated from the University of Southern California. It's right here on the wall with a Bachelor of Arts in Social Sciences and Communications.
Incredible.
Isn't that great?
Wow.
Isn't that amazing?
Have you ever thought about having multiple streams of income? Instead of relying on just one stream of income where you're trading your time for money, how would you like to free up more of your time and live a more abundant life? As a listener of the show, you're invited to attend one of our upcoming trainings where I'll give you an inside look into how you can add passive income and get all the other perks of recession-resistant real estate investing without the headaches of being a landlord. I'll also be sharing some hidden mistakes to avoid and the criteria I personally look for when evaluating potential investment opportunities. To reserve your seat for free, go to sylviscapital.com/webinar. Again, that special link to reserve your seat for free is sylviscapital.com/webinar. I look forward to seeing you on the training. And now back to the show. That is just incredible. There's so much I want to unpack there. Is that okay with you? I love this. What a great storyteller you are. I've been working candidly on myself on how to tell better stories because I'm not great at it. So I'm sitting here listening in admiration of, I mean, obviously your own life story, but your ability to tell it is just fascinating. So when Ron introduced himself as an alcoholic and asked if you'd go to AA with him, was that your first time going to AA? Just out of curiosity? Okay. And did you continue?
I still do.
You still do?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's been a habit ever since.
Yeah, it's been 34 years.
Wow.
May 5th was 34 years. And I mean, we're only up to 1994.
Okay. All right. I didn't mean to cut you off. Wait, go ahead. Go ahead. I know there's a lot more.
Well, whatever works. My wife and I were just talking and she was like, you really need to write another book, but about you,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I want to talk about your book too, but okay. So what happened after 94?
So I took a job at the Sheraton Grand Hotel downtown Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And I hated it. And so my sister had moved. My sister and her boyfriend, now her husband, also from Palo Alto, had moved to Boulder, Colorado. And I went to visit them and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And so I quit my job before I got fired in 1995 and moved and kissed my girlfriend goodbye. And she was supposed to come, but she ended up not coming. And that's a whole nother story. And I, moved to Boulder, Colorado, and basically bounced around Boulder, blah, 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 blah. Always did sales. Always, always, always. 5th generation salesman. I got married, I got divorced. And then in 2007, I had an epiphany. I was 43 years old. I was 16 years sober. And I was at this space where I was like, I'm just empty inside. I'm making money. I'm really good at what I do. Really am empty. My soul is empty.
Yeah.
And I talked to a good buddy of mine and he's also sober and he had done the same thing and decided to go back to school and be a nurse. And we talked about that and he was like, how do you feel about science or chemistry? And I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
And he goes, I think you'd make a great therapist, Kevin. And so in January of 2008, I enrolled at Regis University, which is a little Jesuit school in Denver. Yeah. And I started in their master's. Well, then it was master's in counseling, but then a year later, they opened up a marriage and family program. And I was part of the first class that graduated from the marriage and family program in 2011.
Wow.
Oh, I know, right? I mean, and so the funny thing about that was I went to an open house in July or August of 2007. And I met the dean and I was like, look, because the Regis is a very academic school. And I said, look, bro, I don't want to waste your time. I mean, if I need to go to some other school, let me know. But I look around this room and I'm like, you're preaching the academic credentials, et cetera, et cetera. I said, I want to be clear with you. I'm 43 years old. I am 17 years sober. I flunked out of USC. I went back. And you look at my transcript, I got straight A's.
Right.
But, straight A's and straight F's make C's. And he's like, and I said, and I've been in business and but this is who I am and this is what I want to do. And he's like, look around the room. I said, okay. And he goes, what do you see? I said, there's like 35, 40 people. He's like, how many men your age? And I said, I'm the only one. He's like, right. And he goes, you have street experience.
Oh.
You've been around the block.
Yep.
You are who we want.
Yep.
And so he goes, we'll put you on probation because you're academics. And he goes, and I have all the confidence in the world that you're going to blow through that. And I ended up graduating with a 3.9.
Nice.
And so I worked for a community mental health facility in Denver for 3 years. And in 2014, I opened up my private practice. And 1 day a week, and it filled instantly in April. And then I opened up another day, and it filled instantly in May. And in June, I quit working for somebody else. And I launched into Petersen Family Counseling, and it's been super successful. A year ago, I ended up, I was 61, 60. And I was like, I'm kind of tired of chasing everything. And so I am very tightly connected to the drug and alcohol treatment world. And there's a really wonderful program in Carbondale, Colorado by Aspen called Jaywalker Lodge.
Okay.
My buddies own it and run it, and they have a bunch of USC boys. And I talked to them, and I was like, hey, you know what? I'm kind of tired of chasing. And I said, how would you guys feel about picking me up as your family guy? And they were like, oh my God, are you kidding? So I've worked for them for a year, starting in July of last year. And that's the quickie version of who I am and where I am. Met an absolutely wonderful woman in 2014. Got married to her in 2016 in Vegas by Elvis.
Okay.
I mean, it was designed. I mean, the guy who basically planned the wedding was a USC boy who was the lead anchor in Las Vegas for Fox News station, John Huck. You should interview him.
Okay.
And he's just a great man. And we blah, 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 blah. We ended up moving to Jacksonville Beach, Florida, because I said I wanted to live at the beach.
Yeah.
Now we live 5 blocks from the beach. Isn't that crazy?
Goodness. Do you think 22-year-old you would even believe this story? No, truly.
50-year-old me doesn't believe this. I really had resigned myself to, I'm going to go to graduate school. I'm going to get some county job, make chump change money, but what I'm going to do is good.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
In my heart, I was like, I'll climb the ladder and I'll make whatever. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I was making $38,000 a year.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was insulting,
For sure.
I'm also fluent in Spanish because we skipped a whole part where I moved to Spain and lived in Spain. And
What city?
I'm right outside of Granada.
Oh, Granada's beautiful. Okay. Yeah, we may need a second episode or something. This is so good. This is so good. Kevin, our audience is often folks that are in their 30s, 40s, and 50s that feel like what they were told would bring abundance to their life isn't doing that. Truly, they're working 80 hours a week. They're burned out. They don't have time to spend with their family. They may have a lot of money, but they can't enjoy it. So these stories of second chances, of being in your 40s, going back to graduate school, following what you thought would be doing good and resigning yourself to maybe earning not enough money, and then building this practice and now living where you want. It's just so fantastic to hear.
Yeah. Well, so much. I mean, that's what appealed to me about when I saw your stuff and you were like, hey, this is what I do. I'm like, so here's where I was at 43 in 2007. I was making 6 figures, nice place, nice car. I'd gotten divorced, but things were rocking. But inside I was just empty, and I just hated what I was doing, and I hated who I was doing it for. And I just was really sad and uncomfortable and lonely.
Yeah.
And I sat down and I really had a heart to heart with a couple of people. And, I realized that I would rather go do what I love and maybe just get by
Yep.
than do what I hate and be successful.
Yep.
I know that sounds crazy.
It
By the
does.
way, have you ever watched Jim Carrey's commencement speech at Maharishi
Oh.
University?
Well, now you're going to give me goosebumps for the rest of our episode, because that one's just, yeah, I know. It's just,
Yeah.
we'll include a link to it for folks who haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Thank you for mentioning it. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, but for me, I was just like, I mean, I was 43 years old, right? I'm halfway through my life expectancy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm not living like this.
Yeah.
I don't care if I have to live in a shit basement apartment and take the
Truly.
bill. I got to be fulfilled.
Truly.
And the thing is, right? I realized that, oh, hey, I can do this and do well.
That's it. It's that binary that we're sometimes forced into of, oh, I do what is meaningful and gets me up in the morning, but maybe I'm not financially rewarded, or I'm financially rewarded. I'm selling my soul to the devil. Maybe that's a little extreme, but I feel really unfulfilled. Why it doesn't have to be, or can it be and?
Well, that's what, I mean, one of the things the dean and regis said to me is like, one of the things you're going to find out is you have business knowledge. So here was the thing, and this is USC, baby. This is all USC. And my dad passed away in 2021. My mom passed away in 2014. And what happened, what the dean, John Armand, said is, you are a rare bird in our little world because you understand how to run a business. So when I started, and by the way, in the therapy world, right, when you're working for a large, like a community mental health facility or something like county or state or whatever, there's a lot of pressure not to leave and go to the dark side and do private practice, and even worse, it's like, I don't take insurance. It's straight cash.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, here's the thing. Let me tell you about microeconomics. I mean, I did pay attention.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's two things you can do in microeconomics. You can become price competitive or you can specialize. I'm a specialist. I work with families that struggle with addiction because I grew up in that house, became an addict, got sober, and now I'm a mental health professional.
Yep.
And I'm an expert in my field.
Yeah. In so many ways.
Yeah. And that world, that entrepreneurial concept, by the way, I'm so old that I was at USC when Leo Buscaglia was still there. Do you know who he is?
I do.
Yeah. Oh.
Wow.
He,
Wow.
and
Yeah.
and that's back in the day when the entrepreneurial program was like revolutionary.
Yes. Big
I
time.
didn't think, but that was the spirit of USC.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
I was just like, screw it, man. I'm going all in because I'd rather be happy and broke than miserable and wealthy, because I've been miserable and wealthy and it sucks.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's held up as this ultimate goal we should all strive for, right? And how many people say, I don't think it was Jim Carrey, but I feel like it was someone adjacent to him that said, I wish everyone could become wildly wealthy so that they'd stop and realize that isn't the thing that's going to make them happy. It's such a powerful concept. There's so much that's going through my mind because my experience in American society is second chances aren't kind of part of our culture. You messed up once, and you're kind of thrown to the curb yet. And, this is maybe a controversial take, but I think some people would argue addiction and tendency toward alcoholism can be genetic. No one signed up for that. I would argue. I could be wrong. I'll probably get some hate in the comments.
Oh, you're right. No, we're on the same team.
Okay. And sometimes folks born into those genetics don't have the family structures to understand how to deal with that genetic predisposition. So we're setting some people up for a really hard life. And I love your story of this second chance. I'd love for you to talk about kind of the role. How do you think that plays in culture and maybe how we could show up better for people?
Well, okay. So I have, I have my bio family,
Yes.
I have a spirit who I love and adore, although I have two nieces that have both graduated from college, but when it came time for them to look at college, my eldest niece looked at me, she said, so my parents have told me I can't go to USC. And I'm like, why? And my brother-in-law was like, oh, you killed that.
Oh.
I'm like, okay, I get it. And I was like, yeah, I understand. So I have my bio family, and then I have my school family and my work family, but I have this other family. And by the way, I meant to mention this. When I got to USC, and I went to an AA meeting on campus every single day.
Wow.
And I became part of that network, that other Trojan family.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that family saved me.
Wow.
It was like, we got you. You're going to be fine, kid. Don't worry about it. We just keep showing up and doing what you're told. And that has stuck with me throughout the process. And they also taught me that anything's possible. You can do whatever. When an alcoholic or an addict gets sober and cleans up their life, I mean, God, we could spend years talking about that. But quitting drinking and alcohol turns out to be the easy part.
I bet.
And quitting way of life, the chaotic, insane way of life, That's the hard part.
Yeah.
Okay. And so the second chance came from me, and this is really important to understand, is they came from me putting all my chips in. They're like, don't put your eggs in all in one basket. I put all my eggs in one basket with my higher power, God, whatever you want to call it,
Yeah.
and said, you got to take care of me because it took care of me
Right.
and said, it's not going to be easy, Sonny, but you're going to get a job. You're going to get a bus pass. You're going to go to school.
Yeah.
And so 44 years old, I did not have a car. I was living in a basement apartment in Denver, and I was commuting to graduate school on a boat and hustling rides. But a friend of mine, a really old, who passed away recently, and this is another guy in the recovery world, said, God has work for you to do. All you have to do is show up, and he will kick the doors open for you, but you got to show up. And it's going to be scary. It's going to be uncomfortable. You're going to feel like a fish out of water.
Yeah.
And when I went to graduate school, I mean, I was a straight A student, and every semester I was like, I can't believe I'm getting straight A's. And my classmates, my friends were like, why do you keep saying that? You're like the smartest guy in the room. And I'm like, oh, I have
No idea.
like, and they're like, dude. And that's when I kind of realized, oh no, I mean, I'm pretty bright. I'm pretty capable. And but so to answer your long answer to your short question, the second chances is, I had to search inside myself what it is I wanted and who I wanted to be. And I didn't know I was going to end up here talking to you,
Right.
which is awesome. But, I knew that I needed to do something that was more emotionally and spiritually fulfilling and just making money and filling out spreadsheets.
That's it.
That wasn't going to be the deal. And if that meant I was going to have some crappy job that paid crap and I was just going to grind it and suck it up, that was, as long as I felt good about who I was and what I was, that was fine.
Yeah.
Because the integrity and the dignity and the character was more important than the money.
And you ended up getting both.
Yeah, how about that? I mean, it was just, but I got both because I worked my ass off.
Oh, of course. I didn't mean to imply it just fell in.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Absolutely.
And, I worked my ass off and I showed up at the right time and said, I'm here. Tell me what to do and I'll do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the lives that you've helped. I mean, how meaningful must that be to you to have been maybe not in the exact situation of the people that you help, but so similar that you can, I imagine, just viscerally feel where they are in their journey and having the wisdom and experience and the professional training to walk them through. I mean, I get goosebumps thinking about it and I don't even live that life. What must that mean to you?
It's everything. It's everything. So interestingly enough, in my world, I'm a super, super specialist because I don't work with the guy, the alcoholic or the addict. I work with the family.
Got it. Okay.
And I teach them the lessons that my family learned about how to set boundaries with love and empathy and compassion, but saying no.
Yep.
And the answer is no. If you want help, we'll help you, but it looks like this. We're not funding your party. That crap's over with.
You're not enabling. Yeah.
I'll tell you, that reminds me of a really funny story about when I was working. See, these kids would come in and the financial services, it's like a bank account, right? And these kids would come in and be like, my parents are really pissed. They want to know what's going on and And I'm like, okay, sit down. And we'd be in my office and I'd go through their account. I said, okay, here's what you did. And then the kid's like, what? I said, what is it? 12 to 16 units is one price per semester. I said, you registered for 20 units. And the kid's like, I said, and then you got mom and dad to pay the bill. And then you dropped a class or two and you took the refund. I said, but here's where you screwed up. You forgot to change your address. So the receipts went to mom and dad's house and they want to know where the goddamn money is. And the kid's like, how do you know this? I'm like, child, I invented that scheme.
You have no idea who you're talking to.
I've got you, baby. I said, so here's how it's going to go. You can call them and confess.
Yeah.
And it's going to go one way. But if I call them, they're going to kill you.
Yeah.
And I had a mom, a really wonderful mom that I really liked talking to on a regular basis, whose daughter, was there. And then all of a sudden she wasn't there anymore. and the mom wasn't making the payments, right? So I called her up. I'm like, hey, what's going on? You're not making the payments. She's like, oh my God, Kevin, I'm so sorry. I forgot to call you and tell you. She dropped out. And I was like, oh, okay. So what happened? She's like, well, she's getting straight C's. And I told her, you can go to junior college for $500 and get straight C's. I'm not sending you to USC for 40 grand, straight C's. And she chose to go to junior college and get a job in Hollywood as a waitress. And I'm like, and I said, ma'am, I wish I had more parents like you. You're just like, oh no, we're not doing this, and so those are some of the lessons that I teach now to the families of, you can love them and care about them, but you got to hold them accountable.
Yes. Yeah. I'm thinking of a gentleman I'm talking to. He's actually an investor of mine who has a young son who's struggling in and out of kind of rehab homes. And I can't fathom how hard that must be, kind of, as you said, to kind of have these boundaries, but love them through it. And I'm just thinking about the hope this gentleman might hearing your story of, when you're in the middle of helping and loving your son through this addiction and trying to get better, and then hearing what is possible on the other end. Just tremendous hope and encouragement hearing this episode may be. You're not his therapist, but if you were talking to a father of a child who's going through this, what kind of words of wisdom or encouragement would you give them?
Read my book.
Okay.
Right. That's
perfect segue.
It's absolutely 100% designed for that dad.
Okay. Yeah.
And I also, by the way, have a friend of mine and I do a weekly sort of like call in or email. People email us questions about their families and addiction. And it's called The Family Matters. And I have a YouTube channel. It's under the Chronic Hope Institute. And we post it up every week. And so I would say, have them take a look at that as well. And read it's $10. On Amazon, it's called Chronic Hope Family. And I'll give you all the artwork. I wrote the book for that dad.
Okay.
Here's the thing. Nobody reads it until the shit hits the fan.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're like, oh my God, where was this book? I'm like, well, bro, I wrote it 5 years ago, but that's the drill. And then, that's my job. I worked for this lovely, amazing place called Jaywalker Lodge, but I still have a private practice. I'm called Petersen Family Counseling out of Denver. And we do some coaching on the side, super small. I don't have time, but we definitely, we have all sorts of stuff available and resources to help.
Wow.
That's the whole thing, right? Is our goal is to help and make it available for people, because most, like you're saying, most families that are caught in this web, they're like, how the hell did I get here? And what the hell do I do?
Right.
Because there's no manual for this. I wrote one, but there's no,
yes.
General, there's no manual. So, that's why, what happened was my wife, I would come home every day from work when we were still living in Denver. We moved here to Jax Beach in 2019.
Yeah.
I would come home every day from work. She's like, how's work? I'm like, great. She's like, how many clients did you see? I'm like, oh, I saw 4. And she's like, great. What was it like? I'm like, it was all the same thing. And I'm going to get a cardboard cutout of myself and put it in my office and say, touch this button if you have a 16-year-old smoking weed. Touch this button if you have a 20-year-old that's flunking out of college. Touch this button if you're failure to launch 30-year-old, and touch this button if it's your husband or wife, because it's all the same shit. And she's like, you ought to write a book. So I wrote my first book. I actually have a copy here.
Good.
It's called Chronic Hope, Parenting the Addicted Child. This is for someone whose kid is 18 or under.
Okay.
This is not the one I want you people to look at.
Okay.
The other one, and which I don't have with me, do I? I don't think oh, wait. Yeah, you can catch the link on Amazon and all that sort of stuff. But
yeah.
Anyway, that's the mission of life, man. Is my job is to help people. And I get paid well, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
And my wife and I do well. In reference to your world. And by the way, you need to talk to my wife professionally, because she is a headhunter for real estate investment trusts.
Interesting.
Around the country. She's got her own boutique firm. She's been doing it 25 years. She is crazy successful.
Oh, neat.
She's not one of those people that's on the phone chasing people. You have to pay her.
I love it. She sounds like my type of lady. I'm excited to meet her.
Yeah, her name is Amy St. Dennis. She's absolutely incredible.
Okay.
Look at that.
Me.
And I'm very blessed and fortunate to have found her, or have her found me in 2014. And we've gone through our struggle. And there's oh my God, we can even do another episode. Yeah. and we've gone through our struggles. Since we met, we've lost all 4 of our parents.
Oh.
And it's been really hard and real struggle. And that's where and then she had cancer. She had 2 cancers, actually, colorectal and kidney cancer in 2018.
Oh my gosh.
And I said, I was like, it was really funny. We had been looking for beach houses because we're beach people. We just like going to the beach.
Yeah.
I was like, well, why don't we buy a place? Because that would be like a good investment. And he's like, okay, sure. And so we found Jacksonville. And as we started shopping, she went in for a colonoscopy and the guy came back. He's like, that's cancer.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me. And then he said, and tomorrow you're going to get a PET scan.
Oh.
This is a total side note. We had Kaiser then. And oh my God, was that amazing. No, Kaiser rocked.
Okay.
I mean, because they're all coordinated. They're all together.
Good.
Once the machine started, whoosh. I mean,
Good.
I'm not kidding. It was incredible.
Good.
Yeah, shout out Kaiser. And because I got the same thing when I had Kaiser when I was working for the community mental health facility. I'm like,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
But it turned out it was spectacular.
Great.
And we went home that day and we're just stunned,
Mhm.
you know. And I looked at her and I said, can you handle a little humor? And she's like, yeah, sure. I'm like, we are never moving to the beach.
Yeah. Gosh.
Every goddamn time some obstacle shows up.
Yeah.
Oh no, this means once this is over with, we're gone. And so that was all of 2018, chemo radiation surgery, finished in the beginning of January 2019. And we bought our first condo out here in September of 2018 while she was still in the hospital. And I started coming out and decorating it and doing stuff and putting shit in there. And then when she got done with everything, we came out and spent 10 days. And by day 3, she's like, I'm not going back. I'm living at the ocean because we lived a block from the ocean and we have 3 dogs. We have 3 Boston Terriers and they're adorable.
Yes.
And so she would walk them on the beach 3 or 4 times a day. And she's like, this is the best therapy I've ever had in my entire life.
100%. Absolutely.
Yeah. And she's in recovery also. And we found our community here. And,
Great.
you know,
Her health is good now?
100%. She's been clean since 2019.
Great.
Turns out here in Jacksonville, there's a Mayo Clinic.
Ah.
Yeah. And they have a specialist. She has what's called Lynch syndrome, which is a colorectal thing. And so she sees the people here for checkups and all good, all groovy, 100%. And I don't know what more time you want to spend on this. Oh my God, it's 150.
I know. This has been so much fun. I mean, my final question is, when's the biography? I mean, I'm sure all our listeners are wondering the same thing.
That's the next step.
Good.
I got to find someone to help me with that. I just don't have time.
Yeah.
You know?
Good.
And, but yeah, no, if anyone out there wants to help me,
Okay.
I'm happy. I'm like you said, I'm a really good storyteller.
Yeah.
I'm not a really good writer. I am a good writer, but I'm not a really good, so like my book, what I did is I actually hired someone who interviewed me. I create the outline and she interviewed me and then wrote the book. And it was all me, but she just did.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to tell your story. I mean, the number of people that are going to be encouraged, inspired, and just not feel so alone by this, whether, we mentioned it's the child that they're trying to help, or they're just trying to get their feet underneath them, because they were taught to put their ladder up against the wrong wall and they're not really where they want to be. Just amazing.
The important thing is to follow your heart, and trust God that you'll be okay, or whatever you believe in.
Yes.
That you'll be okay. And here's the other thing I would tell people, because this is something that this may contradict what other people. I always tell people, what do you like? What do you enjoy doing? Do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And trust it. Just see where it takes you. Because if you like it, you're going to be good at it. And so there you go. Yeah.
Incredible. Well, thank you again, friend. Fight on. I'm so glad we met through our USC network. And everyone, we're going to put all sorts of links in the show comments. So you can get in touch with Kevin, get his book, follow his YouTube channel, reach out to him, whatever that looks like. Thank you again, everyone, for listening, and send this episode to someone that you think could be encouraged and be helped, truly, because Kevin and I are both out here just trying to help people as much as we can. All right. We'll talk to y'all soon. Thanks again, Kevin. Bye for now.
Thank you for joining us on another episode of the Secrets to Abundant Living podcast. We hope you found inspiration and valuable insights that will empower you on your journey towards abundance. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Your feedback means the world to us, and it helps others discover the secrets to an abundant life too. Stay connected with us on LinkedIn, Amy Sylvis. Keep striving for your goals, nurturing your relationships, and embracing the adventure that is life. Until next time, we wish you an abundantly fulfilling day.